Ambassador Zexthari's four eyes widened as she reviewed the dietary requirements submitted by the human delegation. The crystalline being's photosynthetic patches flickered with confusion. "Surely there's been a translation error," she muttered to her aide, a nervous flitterwing named Pip. "The humans have listed beef, pork, chicken, and, by the great light, shark fin soup as preferred meal options." Pip's gossamer wings trembled. "Ambassador, I've triple-checked the translations. These are indeed the creatures they consume." Zexthari pulled up holographic displays of Earth's ecosystem. A bovine weighs nearly a ton and possesses crushing hooves. Porcine species, tusks capable of piercing armor plating. Avian raptors with talons that could shred our finest metals. And sharks. She paused, her voice dropping to a whisper. Apex predators of Earth's oceans. And they eat them? Pip squeaked. Not just eat them. They've domesticated the land creatures, selectively bred them to be larger, then consumed them for pleasure. The door chimed, and the human delegation entered. Leading them was Captain Sarah Chen, a relatively small biped who barely reached Zexthari's shoulder. Her teeth were clearly visible as she smiled, sharp, pointed canines flanked by flat grinding surfaces. A predator's mouth. "Ambassador Zexthari," Captain Chen said warmly, "we're honored by your invitation. I hope our dietary requests weren't too much trouble." "Not at all," Zexthari replied carefully, "though I must ask, these creatures you consume, they're quite formidable, are they not?" Captain Chen's laugh was light, almost musical. "Oh, you mean dinner? Well, I suppose a wild boar could be dangerous, but most of our food animals are pretty docile. We've been ranching them for thousands of years." "Ranching?" Pip whispered. "Domestication and controlled breeding," the captain explained. "We keep them safe, feed them well, and they provide us with protein. It's symbiotic." Zexthari's internal system struggled to process this. "And the sharks?" Well, shark's more of a delicacy. Most people don't eat it regularly, though I did have some great shark tacos in Mexico last year." Captain Chen's expression grew thoughtful. "You know, we probably shouldn't have put that on the list. Shark populations need protection." The casual concern for the apex predator's welfare while simultaneously consuming it sent a chill through Zexthari's crystalline structure. These humans weren't just predators, they were conservationists who ate their conservation subjects. "Perhaps we should discuss your species' biological classification in our next session." "Sure thing," Captain Chen agreed, "though I should mention we brought some Earth delicacies as gifts. Prime ribeye steaks, if you're interested." As the humans departed, Zexthali turned to Pip. "Contact the Galactic Council. I think we may need to revise our threat assessment protocols." 3 days later, Ambassador Zexthari stood outside the human quarters. The invitation had been simple. Join us for a traditional Earth dinner. Pip fluttered beside her nervously. "Are you certain about this, Ambassador? The dietary briefing from the Galactic Health Council was disturbing." The Health Council's report had been terrifying. Humans had evolved as persistence hunters, bipedal predators who literally ran their prey to death across vast distances. They were omnivores with the efficiency of a biological recycling plant. "We must understand them, Pip. They're petitioning for council membership." The door opened, revealing Captain Chen. The scent that wafted out was complex, rich, and completely alien to Zexthari's sensory apparatus. "Ambassador, perfect timing. We just finished cooking." Captain Chen's smile was warm and welcoming. "I hope you don't mind, but we prepared a variety of traditional dishes." The dining area had been transformed. Soft lighting, furniture designed for bipedal physiology, and a large surface covered with a bewildering array of dishes. "This is incredible," Zexthari said, meaning it. The presentation was artful, almost ceremonial. Thanks, we've got grilled salmon. That's a fish that swims upstream to spawn, incredibly strong. These are lamb chops, baby sheep, grass-fed. And this, Captain Chen gestured proudly to a large, perfectly seared piece of meat, is a T-bone steak from a bull that lived on the Montana plains. Dr. Rodriguez, the human xenobiologist, looked up from his meal. The bull was probably around 1,800 pounds when alive, capable of charging at 35 miles per hour. "And you subdued it?" Pip asked weakly. Captain Chen laughed. "Oh no, we didn't hunt it. It was raised on a ranch. Though humans do still hunt wild game. My grandfather used to hunt elk, massive creatures, 7 feet tall. He'd track them through mountains for days." "For survival?" Zexthari asked. "For fun," Dr. Rodriguez replied, cutting into his steak. "Well, for food too. Wild game has a different flavor than ranch-raised, more intense." The casual way they discussed hunting creatures that would terrify most sapient species made Zexthari's internal temperature fluctuate wildly. "Try the salmon," Captain Chen suggested. Zexthari carefully accepted a small portion, her crystalline structure analyzing the molecular composition. The flesh was dense with proteins from a creature that had lived a life of constant motion and strength. This creature fought its way upstream against powerful currents to reproduce? Yep. Salmon migrate thousands of miles to the ocean, live there for years, then return to the exact spot where they were born to spawn. They'll fight their way up waterfalls. "And then they die," Dr. Rodriguez added matter-of-factly. "The spawning process exhausts them completely." "A warrior's life," Zexthari murmured. The humans had made this warrior into dinner. Captain Chen produced a bottle of deep red liquid. "This is wine, made from grapes that grow in volcanic soil. We've been fermenting fruit for thousands of years." The casual nature of it all was perhaps the most unsettling aspect. This wasn't a ceremonial feast. This was apparently what humans called Tuesday night dinner. The next morning, Zexthari found herself in the xenobiology lab, staring at the molecular analysis of the previous night's meal. Dr. Keth Mori, the station's chief xenobiologist, was horrified. "Ambassador, look at these protein structures," he said, his tentacles gesticulating wildly. "This salmon specimen shows evidence of sustained high-energy muscular activity. The creature lived its entire life in motion, fighting currents, avoiding predators, building athlete-level muscle density. And the humans just ate it. Not just ate it, they've developed cooking techniques that specifically enhance the flavor compounds produced by the creature's struggle for survival. The searing process intensifies the taste of the predator's flesh." Zexthari's patches flickered with discomfort. "What about the bovine sample?" Dr. Kethmori's tentacles writhed. "Even worse, the bull shows genetic markers indicating selective breeding for size and muscle mass. Humans have been manipulating apex predator genetics for millennia, making them larger and stronger just to consume them. Surely there's an explanation. Perhaps they evolved from small predators?" "No, Ambassador, that's what makes this disturbing." Dr. Keth Mori pulled up the human evolutionary tree. They evolved from omnivorous primates. Their ancestors ate fruits, nuts, occasional small animals, but look at this progression. The hologram showed human expansion across Earth, with dietary habits mapped alongside development. 2 million years ago, they discovered tools. Shortly after, they began hunting creatures 10 times their size: mammoths, giant ground sloths, cave bears. As their technology improved, their prey got more dangerous. For survival? Initially, yes, but observe the pattern. The display highlighted human expansion. As they spread to new continents, apex predator populations declined. But they didn't drive species extinct, they domesticated them. Domestication is typically symbiotic, not with humans. They provide protection and food, but the service is allowing themselves to be consumed. They've created a relationship where apex predators depend on humans for survival, and humans get to eat them regularly. A new voice interrupted them. Actually, I think you're overcomplicating it. Captain Chen stood in the doorway, having arrived silently. A predator moving without detection. Captain, Zekthari said carefully, we were discussing your species' dietary evolution. Yeah, I figured. Look, it's really pretty simple. We eat what tastes good and provides nutrition. Some happens to be apex predators, but we also eat plenty of plants. I had a salad yesterday. But the selective breeding, the hunting techniques. Captain Chen shrugged. We're good at optimizing things we enjoy. When we discovered aged beef tastes better, we figured out how to age it properly. It's not about being apex predators, it's about being curious. Curious enough to eat creatures that could kill you? Well, yeah, pufferfish can be deadly if prepared wrong, but fugu is considered a delicacy. There's something appealing about the challenge. Zekthari's patches dimmed to darkness. The humans weren't just apex predators, they were thrill seekers who ate other apex predators for entertainment. The weekly cultural exchange session had become a source of both fascination and horror for the non-human delegates. Today, Captain Chen had brought Sergeant Maria Santos, a stocky human with scars on her arms and a laugh that could be heard 3 corridors away. "So, you want to know about hunting?" Sergeant Santos asked, settling into her chair. "Where I come from, hunting is practically a religion." Ambassador Zekthari's patches flickered nervously. "Perhaps we should start with something less intense." "Nah, let's dive right in. My first big game hunt was when I was 12. My uncle took me after wild boar in Texas." Pip dropped his stylus. 12? That's barely past juvenile stage. "Yeah, well, you start 'em young. Wild boar are nasty customers, razor-sharp tusks, bad tempers, can weigh up to 400 pounds. But Uncle Joe said if I could take down a boar, I could handle anything." "And did you?" Zekthari asked, dreading the answer. "Took me 3 tries. First time, I missed completely. Second time, I winged it and it charged me. Had to climb a tree. Third time." Santos's expression grew distant, almost reverent. "Perfect shot. Dropped it clean." The room fell silent. The casual way Santos described ending the life of a creature that outweighed her juvenile form by several hundred pounds was unsettling. "What happened to the creature?" Dr. Kethmori asked. "Ate it, of course. Best damn pork I ever had. Wild boar tastes completely different from farm-raised pig. Leaner, more intense flavor. Probably because it spent its life fighting for survival." Captain Chen nodded approvingly. "I remember my first deer hunt in Montana. Spent 3 days tracking this massive buck through the mountains." 3 days? Zekthari whispered. "Oh yeah, deer are smart, especially the old ones. This guy was probably 8 years old, huge rack of antlers, knew every trail. I'd catch glimpses, but he always stayed just out of range." "And you?" persisted. "That's what humans do," Santos laughed. "We are persistence hunters. We might not be as fast as our prey, but we can keep going longer than anything else on the planet." Captain Chen's expression grew thoughtful. "When I finally got him, it was with a single shot from 300 yards. Clean kill. We processed the meat ourselves, used every part, fed my family for months." "You speak of these creatures with respect?" Zekthari asked. "Absolutely," Santos said immediately. "Any hunter who doesn't respect their prey isn't worth a damn. These animals are tough, smart, and they've earned their place in the ecosystem." "But you still kill them?" "We kill them cleanly, quickly, and we use everything. It's more respectful than letting them die of starvation or disease." Captain Chen leaned forward. "Hunting isn't just about the kill. It's about understanding the animal, learning its habits, becoming part of its environment. Some hunters go entire seasons without taking a shot because they never get a clean opportunity. And if they don't, then the animal wins that round," Santos said simply. "There's no shame in being outsmarted by prey." The following week, Captain Chen introduced Commander Jake Fish Morrison, whose nickname came from his expertise in aquatic predator hunting. The human's arms showed muscle development that came from fighting large, angry creatures. Deep-sea fishing, Commander Morrison began, is where you really learn what it means to be human. Zekthari had thought she was prepared, but each week brought new revelations. Today's holographic display showed Earth's oceans, vast, dark expanses covering most of the planet. The ocean is not our natural environment, Morrison continued. We're land creatures. We can't breathe underwater, can't see clearly in the depths, and move slowly compared to aquatic predators. But we go down there anyway. Why? Pip asked, dreading the answer. Because that's where the big fish are. The display showed a creature that made Zekthari's crystalline structure vibrate with alarm. Massive, streamlined, with rows of serrated teeth. Great white shark, Morrison said with admiration. Apex predator of Earth's oceans. Unchanged for 400 million years because they're already perfect killing machines. 20 feet long, 5,000 pounds, can swim at 35 miles per hour. And you hunt these creatures? Dr. Kethamori's tentacles went still. Shark fishing is heavily regulated now. Most places you catch and release. But my grandfather used to fish for macos off California. The display showed another shark, smaller but more terrifying. Pure predatory efficiency. Mako sharks are probably the most dangerous fish to catch. They're fast, aggressive, and when you hook one, it jumps. Picture this, you're in a small boat and you've got a 12-foot, 1,000-pound predator jumping out of the water, trying to get at you. That sounds inadvisable, Zekthari said carefully. Morrison's laugh was predatory. Oh, it's dangerous as hell, but the adrenaline rush is incredible. You're fighting something perfected by millions of years of evolution, and you're doing it with primitive tools, a rod, a reel, and a hook. The shark has every advantage. It's in its natural environment, stronger, faster, fighting for its life. All you have is patience, skill, and stubbornness. Captain Chen nodded. I've seen Jake fight a bluefin tuna for 6 hours. Those fish weigh 600 pounds and swim at 40 miles per hour. They're basically aquatic missiles. 6 hours? Pip whispered. Big bluefin will fight until exhausted. They'll dive deep, trying to break your line. Make runs that'll take all your line in seconds. You have to be smart, let them tire themselves while staying in control. You engage in contests of endurance with apex predators. For recreation? Best recreation there is, Morrison confirmed. And the taste. Fresh bluefin sashimi is incredible. Dense, rich, full of protein you only get from a creature in constant motion. You eat them raw? Sometimes. Depends on the species. The fight is the point, not necessarily the kill. Zekthari's patches went dark. I think I need to contact the Galactic Council again. Ambassador Zekthari had requested this meeting specifically, inviting Dr. Sarah Okafor, the human expedition's chief ecologist. If she was going to understand humans, she needed to understand their relationship with their planet's ecosystem. The thing you have to understand, Dr. Okafor began, is that humans didn't just evolve as predators. We evolved as ecosystem engineers. The holographic display showed Earth's surface over time, with human settlements spreading across continents. Unlike typical species expansion, human growth involved conscious manipulation of entire ecosystems. When we domesticated cattle, we weren't just creating a food source, Dr. Okafor explained. We were reshaping grasslands, creating managed prairies that could support more wildlife than the original ecosystem. Zekthari's patches flickered with interest. You improved the habitat? In many cases, yes. Properly managed grazing actually increases biodiversity. The cattle eat dominant grasses, creating space for other plants, which support more insects, which support more birds, and so on. But you also consume the cattle. Of course, that's the whole point. We create a system where we can harvest protein while improving the environment. It's not just taking from nature, it's working with it. Dr. Kethmori's tentacles writhed thoughtfully. This suggests ecological sophistication that's unusual for a predator species. Oh, we're not just predators, Dr. Okafor said with a smile. We are apex managers. Look at salmon runs in the Pacific Northwest. The display showed massive rivers filled with silver fish swimming upstream. For thousands of years, indigenous humans managed these salmon runs. They harvested fish, but only in ways that maintained the population. They even built fish ladders to help salmon navigate barriers. You helped your prey survive? We helped the ecosystem thrive. Healthy salmon runs mean healthy forests. When salmon die after spawning, their bodies fertilize the entire watershed. The whole system depends on maintaining balance. Captain Chen leaned forward. Modern humans have taken this further. We've reintroduced wolves to areas where they'd been eliminated, specifically to control deer populations that were overgrazing. You reintroduced competing predators? Zexthari's voice rose with surprise. Wolves are better at controlling deer populations than humans are, Dr. Okafor explained. They hunt year-round, take weak and sick animals, and create a landscape of fear that changes deer behavior. Deer stop overgrazing riverbanks, which allows trees to grow back, creating habitat for other species. And you coexist with these wolves? Mostly. There are conflicts sometimes, but we've learned to manage them. Proper livestock protection, compensation for losses, careful monitoring. It's complicated, but it works. Let me show you something interesting, Dr. Okafor said, changing the display. This is Yellowstone National Park, before and after wolf reintroduction. The before image showed overgrazed plains and dying rivers. The after image showed lush valleys with healthy streams. The wolves didn't just control deer populations, they changed deer behavior. This allowed vegetation to recover, which controlled erosion and created wetlands, attracting other species. You changed the course of rivers by reintroducing predators? Indirectly, yes. It's called a trophic cascade. Apex predators affect entire ecosystem structure. You manage entire planets like gardens? Earth is our garden, Dr. Okafor confirmed. We've been managing it for thousands of years. Climate change, habitat loss, these are problems we created, but they're also problems we can solve. And you do this while continuing to consume apex predators? Sustainable harvesting is part of ecosystem management. The key is never taking more than the system can replace. 3 months after first contact, Ambassador Zechthary stood in the human quarters, holding an invitation that had arrived via quantum communication from Earth's United Nations. The holographic document was elegant, formal, and absolutely terrifying. They want to invite a galactic council delegation to Earth, she told the assembled xenobiologists and diplomats, for a cultural exchange and culinary tour. The room fell silent. Dr. Kethmori's tentacles had gone completely still. Pip's wings weren't even fluttering. A culinary tour? Dr. Kethmori repeated slowly. They want to show us how they consume apex predators in person? Captain Chen, who had been quietly observing, cleared her throat. Actually, the invitation is from some of Earth's top chefs and cultural ambassadors. They want to show you the full range of human cuisine, not just the meat dishes. The full range? Zechthary's patches flickered nervously. Oh yeah, we've got incredible plant-based cuisine too. Japanese vegetarian temples have been perfecting plant-based cooking for over 1,000 years. Indian cuisine has complex spice combinations. Mediterranean food focuses on fresh vegetables, olive oil, and simple preparation. Dr. Okafor nodded enthusiastically. And the fermentation techniques? Cheese, wine, bread, pickled vegetables. Humans have been using controlled microbial cultures to enhance flavor for millennia. But there will also be predator consumption? Pip asked weakly. Well, yeah, that's part of our cuisine too. But we're not savages about it. Fine dining is an art form. The preparation, presentation, and pairing of foods, it's as sophisticated as any cultural expression. Captain Chen activated a holographic display showing what appeared to be an art gallery, but the displays were dishes of food arranged with incredible precision and beauty. This is from a restaurant in Tokyo that's been serving the same style for 400 years. Each dish is prepared according to seasonal availability, traditional techniques, and aesthetic principles that go back centuries. The display showed a piece of fish, clearly from a predator species, but arranged with such care and artistry that it transcended mere food and became sculpture. The chef who prepared this spent 20 years learning to select the perfect fish, cut it properly, and present it at exactly the right temperature. It's not just about eating, it's about honoring the ingredient. Zekthari studied the image. You've created art from apex predator consumption? We've created art from everything, Dr. Okafor said. Bread baking is an art. Cheese making is an art. Even vegetable preparation can be incredibly sophisticated. But the invitation specifically mentions traditional hunting experiences, Zekthari said, reading from the document. Guided fishing expeditions, ranch visits, and something called a barbecue. Captain Chen's predatory smile was warm and somehow reassuring. Barbecue is probably the most social form of human food preparation. It's slow cooking over wood smoke, usually for large groups. Very communal, very relaxed. And you'll be cooking apex predators? Probably some beef, pork, maybe chicken, but also corn, beans, vegetables. The point isn't just the meat, it's the gathering, the conversation, the shared experience. Dr. Kethmori's tentacles writhed thoughtfully. From a xenobiological perspective, observing human food preparation in their natural environment would be invaluable. Plus, Captain Chen added, you'd get to see Earth, most beautiful planet in the galaxy. Vast oceans, incredible biodiversity, mountain ranges that stretch for thousands of miles. And billions of humans casually consuming apex predators? Pip whispered. Well, yeah, but also billions of humans growing food, creating art, building cities, exploring space, and trying to figure out how to share the galaxy with species like yours. Zekthari's crystalline structure resonated with conflicting emotions. The humans were terrifying predators who had engineered their entire planet's ecosystem. But they were also sophisticated beings who approached food with the same artistry that other species applied to their highest cultural achievements. There's something else, Captain Chen said quietly. The invitation isn't just about showing you our food. It's about showing you our world, our culture, our way of life. We know we seem strange to you, but we're hoping that if you understand us better, we can build something together. Zekthari looked at the invitation again, then at the humans who had become, not quite friends, but something more than strangers. I'll need to discuss this with the council, she said finally, but I think we should accept. Captain Chen's smile was warm, genuine, and only slightly terrifying. Welcome to Earth, Ambassador. We can't wait to show you what we're really about.